Hello out there, Rufus Project Patreon subscribers. Hello there. Welcome to Redeeming Features Live.
Yay! We always love when it's live, or we
Yeah,
might be a bit scared, but I don't know.
it's seat of the pant type stuff. So
Yeah,
it's
you
always
see us
fun.
warts and all because you've got to see us in every possible way.
Absolutely, and we just see how it goes. So this is like a little bit just for you Patreon. So again, thank you very much for subscribing. We really do value your support. You're awesome. And then you're here where we're going to talk about Holmes and Watson, which is what this upcoming podcast is about. Of course, Patreons will also get first access to the final edited version where we get rid of all our ahs, fucks, shits, all that stuff. Clean it up a bit. Mind you, I think I left some F-bombs in the cats one. Fuck it.
I think for the cats podcast, an F-bomb every now and then is acceptable.
I think so. Okay, so I won't beat around too much longer. I know we're a little bit behind schedule. I can talk. So thanks for your patience.
We've watched a lot of movies. Our speech doesn't flow as easily.
Movies don't do... Yeah. We could probably do a medical experiment on what this many bad movies does to people's brains over the years.
We should be getting government funding from Queensland Health.
God damn it! Yes,
what we've gone through.
Okay, so what we're gonna do? We're gonna pause and be quiet for a moment. We can do that, I promise. And then we will start the podcast proper. So here we go. Better get my little notes up. That's not my notes. That's not my notes. Where have my notes gone? I've lost my notes.
I haven't received them here, if that helps.
No, that's okay. I've got too many things open. That's the issue. Okay, cool. Right.
If you're talking about scroll on a page, I've got that.
I'm going to be reading off a bit of paper, so it's going to be pretty good. Okay, cool. Okay. Is it a fun, farcical take on the Sherlock Holmes story, or does it fail to solve the mystery of why it even got made? We checked out Holmes and Watson from 2018 to see if we could redeem it. Were we successful? Find out after the theme. Redeeming features, boy.
We're gonna have to do a remix version at some stage.
I keep thinking maybe I should just drop the theme on Spotify or something just for the hell of it.
Oh my god! And I'd probably get a notification at the end of the year. This is your most listened to track.
All right.
As long as you're getting some sense out of that, Trevor. Every time I play it.
Yeah, no sense. Okay, cool. Let's do this. Hello and welcome to the Redeeming Features podcast. This time checking out Holmes and Watson from 2018. I am Trevor Holland. I am joined by my very good friend and co-host,
Kristian Fletcher. Thank you so much. I haven't worked out. Oh yeah, we'll work out our points eventually. Thank you so much, Trevor. It's always a pleasure.
Excellent. So you picked this movie, Kristian, for us to watch.
I know, and and a lot of people are probably thinking it's not very retro for you, but I think it was one of those movies that was on my radar or on my list for a while, and I thought, when I say a while, it came out 3 years ago, but you know what I mean? I thought it was a good one to choose, and I thought, there's been a few times I've gone to watch it and like, no, I don't want to watch this more than once. So I thought I'd suggest it for the podcast, because when people say something is terribly bad unanimously, I want to suss it out for myself.
Indeed. Now, I do have to put a little warning up. There will be spoilers. So if you do not want to have Holmes and Watson spoiled, watch it before listening to this podcast, okay? We don't mind. You can pause us and come back later. We're happy for you to do that. Cool. Now,
Yep.
with Holmes and Watson, I suppose just give a bit of idea about the reception of it got. I've got some awards here. The details of the awards. It was nominated for Worst Actor for Will Ferrell and Worst Screen Combo of Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly trashing two of literature's most beloved characters at the Razzies. It won the Razzies for Worst Picture, Worst Supporting Actor for John C. Reilly, and Worst Director for Ethan Coen.
Which is funny because in a lot of my research, people are saying, I wonder if John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell signed up because they thought it was going to be a Coen Brothers movie. And it's Ethan Coen, not Ethan Coen. Yeah. So I do wonder about that. But not that I want to give too much away, but I feel a bit annoyed that Will Ferrell kind of got away unscathed in the Razzie Awards and John C. Reilly kind of had to face the brunt of it. But yeah.
Well,
it was pretty obvious.
Yeah. That's all good. So before we get too much further, we'll look into our turkey trivia. This is where we talk turkey about the movie and get into some trivia. Hopefully that's self-explanatory. Okay, so for this movie, it's rated 3.9 out of 10 on IMDb. It had a budget of $42 million. And the box office was $40 million worldwide. $30 million of that was in US and Canada. So it only made $10 million outside of the US.
And that's so bad considering I believe it came out on Boxing Day, or it was one of those Christmas movies, which as we've spoken about in the past, those movies are designed to be big box office successes. So, and I do remember when this came out, and I even have on my notes here, maybe this created COVID, but it was actually December 2018. So it was, that'll probably link cats then to COVID. That's more appropriate. But yeah,
quite possibly, yeah.
And it was funny because in the same year I saw John C. Reilly, a couple of months beforehand, saw John C. Reilly with Steve Coogan, who's also in this movie, in Stan and Ollie, which was the film about oh god, at the top of my head, Laurel and Hardy.
Yep. Yes. Yes, it was.
Sorry, off the top of my head. So it was interesting to see him being nominated and winning a Razzie in a year when they believe he should have won an Academy Award. So.
Yeah, definitely. Like John C. Reilly, I have great respect for him. He's one of those great underrated actors. And
it's one of those things. Well, it's so. Well, without stepping too far ahead, it's one of those ones where you go, "Oh, I can." And you know they've got that chemistry, him and Will Ferrell. You can tell I've got it there, but sometimes you go, "Ooh, maybe don't do Will's movie. It might bring you down a little bit." I think that's we kind of protect him a little bit, but we can't really help him.
True, very, very true. Well, I do have some trivia here about the movie. Now, we know it's currently on Netflix, but according to Deadline, after disastrous test screenings, Sony attempted to sell the film to Netflix, and Netflix declined.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Which is how I watched it too. But what I actually heard that they didn't actually run screenings for the media, so I don't know if that's sort of like... And as a result, they got a bad critique. And, you know, a lot of times if these critics aren't butted up with a preview screening, you know, they're not going to give it a good review. But when a movie isn't given a test screening with... So what you're probably saying, they had a test screening, but they didn't do one necessarily, a premiere with critics.
No.
And that usually means... they know it's going to be lambasted, so they decide not to do it. So
Indeed. Now, you mentioned it before, Steve Coogan, one of the people who I just went, he's in this movie. I said that a few times. They're in this movie.
Yeah.
But speaking on the Empire podcast in January 2019, about the film, Steve Coogan, who played Gustav Klinger, said, and I quote, I think in 20 years' time, when the dust has settled and people are able to look at Holmes and Watson objectively, I think people will say it's still rubbish. End quote.
There you go. And that's spoken from the actors themselves. So
Mhm.
I wouldn't be surprised if him and John C. Reilly teamed up during that moment and went, "We need to make a movie together."
Who knows? Who knows?
You know, and I love
And
Pam Ferris, who you'd know from the movie Matilda, playing Miss Trunchbull. You know, and you see a few names come up, and you think, you know, you've said yes to this, but it might not have been a good decision.
Indeed, Ray Fiennes, Hugh Laurie, just a couple more of the names
Hugh
in
Laurie
this movie.
turning up was very random.
And finally, I've got more Steve Coogan trivia. He didn't appear in the end credits.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's like he decided to be written out, but it's like, dude, you're still in the movie.
I know. I think it's like there's a particular director's name that they use when the director doesn't like the studio cut and wants a name taken off, and there's actually like another name that they put on.
Yeah, it's like Alan Smitty, I think it is.
Alan Smitty, that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
that's
maybe
it.
maybe they put a different name for Steve Coogan's
I didn't notice that actually, so I probably wouldn't have noticed it because he wasn't even there.
All good. Okay, so anyway, before we start talking about the movie itself, we do need to set our baseline. Okay, see what we're working from. So what I've done is I've gone to Amazon and I've gotten hold of a review to, I suppose, set the scene. Okay, so the title of this review is "Don't Do It." Poor movie, no laughs, 1 star.
Well, there's not much to that then, is there? It sounds like a lot of the reviews that I have read for the film, so I can't really dispute that too much. So it can only go up, backwards, or sideways from here, really.
Pretty much. Now, I've got to say, I actually don't have too many comments on the movie itself, aside from things like, what's Ray Fiennes doing there? What's Steve Coogan doing there? What's Hugh Laurie doing there? But I did notice from early on, they'd say a joke, and then they would keep building on the joke and throw every possible version of that joke at the wall, whether or not the joke was funny in the first place.
Oh, exactly, and that's one thing I noticed. And there was a couple of times I've got a reference here. I think Holmes goes, or Watson goes, "I've been stabbed in the back," and then he turns around and goes, "Yes, I've been stabbed in the back." Literally, you know, there was a few references like that. I think there was even a part where he goes, "I've got one copy of my manuscript left," and of course that catches fire. So I know that's probably not what you were getting at, Trevor, but there's those real sort of obvious jokes where you feel like it kind of insults the audience's intelligence, I suppose, because you feel like you have to be ham-fisted, all of that stuff. And the problem is, if you were to take probably the two of those, let's just say Will and John for the two actors. If you were to take them into a different scenario, it would possibly work. I read a review saying this is like Talladega Nights, you know, the Legend of Bobby, whatever it is. It's set in 1800s England, so it's sort of it didn't fit the parody that it was trying to do, and I think that's probably a lot that's lost with being Americans making this as well. I think, I don't know, they kind of don't have that sort of I don't know, that nous to make it sort of a parody but not be so obvious, which is what a lot of it was.
Yeah, I mean, just I suppose for example, what I mean is when they finally like when they're getting ready, and you know, it's like, oh, we need to get to the courthouse now, Holmes. Yes, we do. Oh, certainly, Watson. Do you like my hat? Oh, you don't like my hat. Do you like this hat? Do you like this hat? And it was like again, and then there was like a fez with "Make England Great Again." Ha ha ha, Trump. And a bit later on, there was a bit when they got to the thing, and they're saying that, oh, this guy is killing himself by masturbation because masturbation wasn't a good thing, and it was just like they had to throw in every possible masturbation joke they could, and they kept doing that throughout the movie. There was just a subject, could have just been a quick one-off 2-line joke, but they end up making one joke last over, well, it seemed like a very long time, but like for a single throwaway joke, they used up like 5 minutes of screen time.
And as soon as you do stuff like that, it starts to become infantile rather than just to throw away that, oh, the people that get that will get that now, move on. And for considering, again, we didn't mention this earlier, but I was so happy when I saw a 1 hour 29 running time. But when you've got gags that go for 5 minutes or so, you know, and then can keep continuing, that's a pretty short film. And that's what I feel like we were seeing is, and that's what I was going to ask Trevor, did Will Ferrell write this? I believe he didn't. I don't know. He would have had a lot of input in it, you know, with his... Because I do get the feeling that it was almost written with the two of them in mind, just to do their slapstick, you know, to fill out a scene. So I don't think he did write it, but I'm sure
it was,
when he's a lead actor on a film, he gets a lot to say.
Yeah, so it was written by Ethan Cohen, and I'm sure that Sir Arthur Conan Doyle will love the fact that he's been attributed as a writer, as the creator of the original characters. But it would be the case where a lot of the scenes would have been just, you know, the actors riffing off each other, because that does happen in these sort of movies quite a lot. And when it works, it can work really, really well, and it keeps it fresh, and you can tell that you're not just watching people read lines. They're actually, you know, taking the scene and making up things on the spot, which, you know, can be hilarious and side-splitting. Just not always. I don't want to say too much more about that fact right now.
Yeah, but I think taking like the Anchorman humor, or, you know, the situation might work, but as soon as you put it into something like the 1800s England, where it almost feels like the actors or the people making it, i.e. Americans, don't really understand the subject matter enough to be able to parody it well. You can do really bad parodies that last for an hour and a half, without saying too much, but you can also be very clever about it. And I think us saying the fact that they have to keep it, you know, the exposition and the, you know, referring to a joke more than once. And I've even written in my notes here, there's a couple of times I chuckled, but I don't know if those chuckles were because of the idiocy of what I was seeing. And I think it would be more likely to be that.
Fair enough. Well, there was I suppose a couple of genuine chuckles I will get to in a moment, but I mean, with I think just compounding on these jokes is that they also, there were some they brought back, like they had the whole masturbation series earlier on, and then when they throw the knife at the guy who's disguised as Moriarty running away, and he ended up being another damn fine actor. Once they rip the beard off, I think, what are you doing in this movie? I've gone blank on his name. But again, and then they cut to they cut to the newspaper, and it's another masturbation joke, you know, or with the housekeeper, with the housekeeper. She comes out at one point, and she's been she'd been sleeping with Mark Twain on Watson's bed, and there was like this whole extended joke about that. And it's like, no, don't do that again. And then come back, and it's like she comes out again, but this time with Nikola Tesla and Albert Einstein, and they're doing the same jokes around it. You know, it's
and it even annoyed me because the part of Mrs. Watson, or the landlady, is always played by an old lady, like a sort of doddering lady that comes down, and it just annoyed me that they changed it. But they changed so much other stuff. I can't be too too annoyed with it. It's like I said, it's like Americans trying to do British fiction, and it just sort of fails miserably. But I think if you'd taken that sort of slapstick, it's almost, I read a review saying it's very Mel Brooks-ish in a way. And I think so too, but there's certain scenarios where it doesn't work, like with Robin Hood Men in Tights by Mel Brooks. That has some hit and miss bits because it doesn't quite work sometimes in the situation it's in, and I think it's the same with this. But and you got to remember, a few years ago we had the Guy Ritchie versions of Sherlock Holmes, which was kind of modernizing, and you got the feeling this was trying to modernize it. Like, of course, there has to be a scene where the girl's like, what, I don't know, what's she putting on she's putting something on the corpse or whatever to do with embalming it, let's just say. Of course,
Oh yeah,
as soon as people have anything sliding related, it has to be a Ghost reference with Unchained Melody played in the background. And I'm just like, oh God, that's one of those really obvious references.
Yep. And even with, more references, like there was like, oh, they go to a thing and it goes, here's a mobile phone, and a guy with like a big backpack, old soft phone on his back. Let's take a self photograph, and
and they're standing back with one of those big versions,
big cameras. And I think there was even another Trump joke at one point where it was almost funny, where he just goes, oh, well, England, we gave America your freedom, and look what you did with it, which was almost funny. Almost.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of the stuff is that almost funny. It's like they were kind of just riffing off each other and hoping whatever they did would stick. And then we get you get the finale where it's all about the Titanic. Now, I did a bit of research because I believed the whole Sherlock Holmes period was the 1890s or 1880s. So I thought it was interesting they were making references to the Titanic. I may be off on that, but I just thought that was...
it's ridiculous. Yeah, the Titanic was 1914, I believe, something like that. Yeah.
And I apparently Sherlock Holmes, the whole thing is supposed to be the 1890s or something.
Yeah.
But they saved the Titanic. You're like, that was one of those big jokes. He went, oh, we saved the Titanic so it can go on and live another day. And you're like, oh, yeah, what are those?
And even like, what was it? Oh, look, it's Billy Zane. As people were boarding the Titanic, they're going, oh, come on.
That was... Well, even when I was reading about the movie, I watched it, people were saying there's a Billy Zane reference. And I'm like, how are they going to bring... Oh, that's how you do it.
It's a very obvious.
So they had
Billy
names
Zane
involved
reference.
with this, whether they wanted to be attached with it, I don't know.
I think Billy Zane just likes
really
standing up and doing stuff.
Oh,
I think Billy Zane. You think, hey Billy, can you just appear in that movie? You go, oh sure.
Now, Trevor, I got a bit of a kick out of this that Alan Menken came back and did. And Alan Menken, who did not just Little Mermaid, but Little Shop of Horrors, the music of Little Shop of Horrors, came back and did the big musical number that they performed during this. And he was like going, he hasn't done stuff for a while. He was retired, but he came back and did a song for this. Confusing, but...
Yeah, and I'm sure that they thought the song was going to be a showstopper when they did it. But there was one bit in there.
Oscar, because if you have a new song in a movie, it's going to be an Oscar winner. Possibly.
Oh yes, absolutely. But there was just one bit in there. I'll talk about it now. Like, there was one particular character I got a little bit of a giggle out, and that was Millicent, the girl raised by cats, played by Lauren Lapkus.
I love that actor. Is it Lauren Lapkus?
Lauren Lapkus,
I've seen her in a few other things, and I find her facial expression. She did well with the role based on what I know she's like.
Yeah, I actually found her actually...
Will Ferrell going, I can eat an onion, and she's like, I can eat one bigger than you. It kind of gave them something to compete with.
So I found, like, her characterization of that, I found that actually mildly entertaining. So it stood out quite a bit. When she turned up, it's like, oh, good, Millicent's back, and she's lapping water from a lake and stuff like that. She really got into the character, which was good to see.
Yeah, and I think too, when you've got the two that are kind of like, hogging the camera the whole time, it was good to see some other people for a start. Even though some of the people we were seeing were pretty big names that were probably scratching their head. Well, that's what a lot of the reviews I read said, that Will Ferrell purposely played it serious, but the others played it comedic. But I think just with the writing, it was the only way they could really play the way that we saw it, which was not good.
Yeah. I think, yeah, I'm just trying to think. I mean, because I know we like to talk about things that stand out. I'm fast running out of things that stand out, which may be a bit of a giveaway. With this movie. So
Well,
was there anything?
things that stood out to me, I went, oh my God, this is weird, is the fact that I was going to say all the only things that were weird that stood out, the fact that Watson started lactating again. Shouldn't have been a joke in the first place, but a joke that was, excuse the pun, milked as much as it could be.
Mm-hmm.
And then was going to say, then there's that bit later on where Watson gets his I won't say it, but genitalia out, and I'm like, oh, they're not doing that. And then again, it keeps going for a 5-minute scene, and that's again a lot of times with these movies, especially with people like this, you go, did the joke work in the first place, and you need to milk it that length of time. So yeah. I just threw my notes away, Trevor, on the floor. So I pretty much I think I have to say as well about it.
Wow, I think we're heading for a record length short podcast for this one, because yeah, I literally have nothing else to say about this movie. So I guess we may as well move on to our final thoughts. So you did pick this movie, Kristian. So if I may,
I threw my stuff down in disgust. Sorry, I threw my book down in disgust and then realised I actually need that for the last bits.
Okay, fair enough.
Now. So yeah, sorry, sorry, Trevor. I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's all good. That's all good. So do you want to pick it up before I continue? Or?
Oh, it's picked up now. I want to
I'll
throw
pick
it
up.
on the
Cool.
ground again.
Excellent. So okay. So yeah, this movie was not only so incredibly not funny, but it also managed to be so mundane. I made bugger all notes, which is an achievement in itself. As I said before, the one person that stood out to me was Lauren Lapkus as Millicent. She was mildly amusing, which made her the best thing in this movie. She even had the most character, even when she had no dialogue. I have got nothing else to say, because there is nothing worth saying about this boring, unoriginal pile of unfunny references, not redeemable.
Oh wow, Trevor! I didn't think it would go that way.
No, you can never be sure about these things.
For picking. But yeah, I think you all would have gathered from the way we've been talking. Look, Americans just shouldn't do British fiction. They just don't get the parody. I can't deny the two leads work well together, but just not in something like this. I'm glad you brought up Lauren Lipkus, because she was one of the shining stars in this pile of whatever, in this pile of non-shining stars. So yeah, this could have been a clever modernization of the Sherlock Holmes story, but leave it to Guy Ritchie. He's done it before. I'm throwing my notes aside again, and Trevor, I'm agreeing and saying this is irredeemable.
There we go. It's unanimous, not redeemable. As you can see, I've now got a thing where it can go across the bottom of the screen.
Whatever the screen says there. What do we think?
It says not redeemable. Scrolling across, not redeemable. There's no way around it.
Sorry, Holmes and Watson. I'm sure you're used to that review by now.
Absolutely. Now, I will just quickly, we actually do have some extra thoughts. I did put the call out on Facebook as to, whether or not anybody else wanted to make their own comments on this movie. Pardon me. And Eloise commented on Facebook saying, the two funniest bits is a quote on the screen at the beginning and a joke about halfway through where they are very clearly making fun of Donald Trump. That's about it. It was like Ferrell was trying to play Holmes straight and let the comedy happen around him. It just didn't work. Fair enough.
Oh, that's what I was saying, Eloise. You tried to be serious and everyone, yeah, cool. I agree.
All good.
Thank you. I'm glad that we weren't going insane with our unanimous decision.
hmm But this is called redeeming feature, so try as we might, we don't always redeem it, but we do like to try to finish on a high note. So I went back and found a 5-star review of Holmes and Watson. Okay, a great film to brighten your
They
day.
exist.
If you want to laugh, then watch this. Worth the money.
Trevor, I can't believe you found that. I honestly think they're just giving it a good review because they got it for 50 cents or something. In a bargain.
I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't pay 50 cents for this.
Okay, well, each to their own. So I don't want to discount anyone's experience or other people that may enjoy this movie after hearing us talk it up.
Indeed. I always say, look, people, if they enjoy a movie, good on them. People can enjoy whatever they want, even if they're wrong. And they're so wrong in this case.
Yeah, make us watch it a second time. I think that's the secret.
Yeah, I'm never watching this pile of shit again. That's basically nothing more to say about that. So
on that, as we now give it over to Trevor to go, oh shit, what's he going to do to me now?
Yep, that's right. You chose this, so I get to pick the next movie, Kristian. Okay, so
no.
I thought we might dig into a franchise that we haven't touched for quite some time. This one actually has a little extra relevance because despite the number of movies already in the series, there's been a recent announcement for a reboot of the film series. Additionally, I've finally gotten the last one we watched out on the Rufus Project flashback feed. So as far as I'm concerned, the timing is perfect. So we are heading to 2010 to check out Resident Evil Afterlife.
Yeah. Oh, it's funny. As soon as you said it's one of our recent ones, I'm like, I remember Extinction Evil being a recent one. So there we go. Wow. It's been a while since we've done a Resident Evil one. So, wow.
Yeah,
2010, that is... Yeah, and that's still kind of retro for us. So.
Yeah, it is. It is, and it will get us past the halfway point because I believe there's 7 in the series, not counting the reboots or the dodgy CGI ones, which I don't think we should even bother touching. So number 4 in the series, Resident Evil Afterlife. It's not available on like just your average subscription streaming, but it can be rented on Apple, Amazon, YouTube, Fetch, and the Microsoft stores. If you're outside of Australia, I dare say you've probably got more options than we do.
Oh yeah, definitely. You'll be like, hey, we found Holmes and Watson, so sure, we'll find this.
Absolutely. Okay, so you mentioned before that Holmes and Watson 3 years ago didn't seem that long ago, but really it does seem a long time ago, 2019. But the good news is lots have happened, and things are starting to open up and happen again. So, Kristian, do you have anything you would like to plug?
Oh, well, nothing to plug for the rest of the year, but there's always something happening with Kristian Fletcher, whether it's big online events. We've got our new merch store open, and hopefully, by 2022, we're going to have a lot more things happening now because I think we've got a bit of COVID behind us now. So I think the best thing to do is head to KristianFletcher.com. That's Kristian with a K, and Kristian Fletcher events on Facebook, and we'll keep you posted about stuff. But on KristianFletcher.com, we also have watch parties every weekend, which Trevor is also involved with sometimes as well. So I definitely recommend if you want to get some fix, because there's a lot of time I haven't been able to dance lately. So it could be in our living rooms for a little while. So I'll have more next time we chat. But keep a watch out on Kristian Fletcher and Kristian Fletcher events. And we've got some more stuff coming up soon.
Woohoo! And of course, keep an eye on the Roofers Project. Roofersproject.com is where you'll find all of our stuff. We've got the redeeming features. We've got the Roofers Project flashback, where I've been pulling the old redeeming features from the old podcast into a more up-to-date feed for you to check out. And I'm almost to the end. I've only got like about that 10 or so to go. So that's been quite the mammoth effort. That's definitely worth checking out for our backlog. You can find the list of all the movies currently available on Redeeming Features of Roofers Project Flashback on roofersproject.com. You can also find What the History there that I do with my wife Susie, where we check out 2 bizarre bits of history. And if you're really keen and cool and want to be our awesome friend who we love lots, you can head to patreon.com/roofersproject and join our Patreon there. We've recently had a bit of a change around. The base amount will get you everything. Okay, nothing is gated off to higher tiers anymore. So if you want to throw a bit extra in, we will happily give you extra love. But we've got exclusive series over there. We've got Hyper Shite, which is like a trailer reaction. We've got a couple of episodes of Join Our Cult that we need to do more of because they're awesome. Really, whatever else I feel like. Whatever else I feel like putting on at the time. You also get early access to our finalized podcast and get to actually watch us record these live on the Patreon page as well. So there's a lot there. You will get a lot of money for your $4.50 Australian per month. and we hope that we can see you over there.
Do it, guys. Even if it just means seeing us.
Cool. And for those watching this on Patreon, love you guys.
You'd pay just to see us $4,
absolutely. So there we go. So thanks for listening, and like I said, we will be back as soon as possible. Still trying to get into a regular routine. It's not easy after these past couple of years, but we will be back to chat Resident Evil Afterlife. Absolutely. So keep an eye on the Facebook page. Yep. So keep an eye on the Facebook page. There's another place to keep an update of where we are and when things are coming out. So thank you again, and see you next time.
Bye.
Hello again, just patrons. Just Patreons. That has to be probably going to be one of the shortest redeeming features yet.
Sorry, we tried to redeem that movie. My notes were like, "This is shit. This is..." Anyway. Yeah, I don't want to go into too much detail.
I had less than I had maybe 6 lines of notes because there's nothing worth noting here. It's just fucking mundane.
Who requested this? I don't know how I'm going to feel about Resident Evil, but we'll see how we go.
I haven't done the video game movie for a while either. This is perfect. You like sequels. Good. I like video game movies.
To mix it up a little bit. Yeah. And hey, it's stuff that I would never think to suggest. Yeah, I think of Home. How's that figure? But anyway.
All good.
Trevor, I'm probably going to have to leave, so...
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see you guys on the weekend.
And let's say bye-bye to the Patreons. So anyone who does actually watch this before Friday, check out christianfletcher.com. Susie and I have provided the song list for this Friday night's watch party. So that's going to be awesome.
Yes, I don't mind everyone hearing about that because, if you are listening to this before Friday, I definitely recommend it.
Cool. All right. So thank you, Patreons, and farewell. Got to press this button twice.